Good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday, so it's time for my midweek pickup. Sorry for the delay. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I'm sure all of us have probably done before, and something that we need to try and stop doing because we never know what can happen later on in life. I know many of you have heard the terms don't burn your bridges. And me, for example, when I was younger, when I would leave a place, meaning like if as far as work is concerned, I would light a match behind me and go. It was no turning back type thing, and that was due to a lot of immaturity and everything like that. But the thing about burning bridges is, of course, life does go on, and during life, you never know who you might end up re-encountering later on in life. And it's funny because it's a lot of things that we end up needing, of course, whether it be a new car, whether we're trying to find a home to either rent or buy, or just anything in particular, where if you're trying to put yourself out there as a business person or whatever, if you have burnt bridges with certain people, they are going to remember you, and they may not be as open to what you're trying to do now, especially if you're trying to, say, for instance, purchase a car. This is real funny. A couple of years ago, one of the people that were a manager at a collection agency that I worked at, it was not a great place. It was a horrible place, and they kind of let us go in a way as to where, after it picks back up, you can be hired back on, blah, blah, blah. At that point in time, like I said, I was younger and a little bit more immature. And I was one of the top collectors in the company at that point. And they, assured us, that we're not going to let y'all go. We're going to just let a certain amount of people go. But then they ended up letting me go. And they told me, in a few months or whatever, when things pick back up, you can come back around and everything like that. And I was completely, of course, upset, pissed off that they, after they told me that I had nothing to worry about, I got terminated and everything. And then, of course, I left in bad standings. I burnt that bridge. And then a few years after that, when I was looking for employment, at a completely different agency, this same person who I burnt the bridge with happened to be the interviewer that for the position that I was going for. And it was quite funny, because of course the first thing that he said was, when I seen that it was you on the application or whatever, I wasn't even gonna call you back because of the way that you left. But then he was like, but then I remembered how you performed or whatever. So I was like, I could probably use him on my team. But long story short, I didn't take the position or whatever because it was more like a kind of like he was trying to tell me, hey, you might have burnt your bridge, but you need me more than I need you type situation. And that's what ends up happening when you burn bridges, because sometimes you do come back across the people that you have either burnt or left in bad terms with or whatever, and they may need your help, or you may need their help, excuse me, um, later on in life. But then it's going to always be in the back of their head like, I remember how he handled this situation. I'm not going to give him a chance to do it again. And that's what it all comes down to. Always try and have a good rapport, especially when it comes to business, the business aspect, especially when it comes to working, because if it's a field that you think that you're going to stay in, trust and believe that it's a community of people that are going to still be in that same field that may be higher up than you, and they will get together and they will talk and discuss, either what type of worker you were, what was the terms of the separation, or just all around, what kind of things you can bring to the table versus, saying what you can't bring to the table. And a negative standpoint is always going to be the first that somebody is going to bring up about you, especially if, like I said, you burnt that bridge. And a lot of people tend to think that, oh, since time has passed, maybe, they forgot about it, or maybe they won't hold me to that. But it's a lot of petty people out here. So you have to know and realize that the more bridges you burn, the less opportunities you may have later on in life. And this can be anything, because this guy that I was talking about, at one point, he became a manager at a car dealership or something like that. And I tried to get a car from him, and he tried to, how car dealerships are. They try and, play the game with you or whatever, and they think that you don't know something and you may know it. But since you left that bad taste in their mouth, they're not going to look out for your best interest at mind. And another thing, let me elaborate on that too. You may run into a lot of people who claim to have your best interests at heart, and they tell you that they want to do something that is meant just for you, or they want to do something that's going to better help your situation. You always have to know that when somebody is telling you something like that, 9 times out of 10, they're trying to better their own situation. They're not trying to just, they may say, it may look like, yeah, okay, cool, they're helping me out. That's what they're doing. But in the long run, what they're really trying to do is make sure that you being their asset is making their situation better versus you making their situation worse. So it's going to be a lot of times where you may get into a situation where everything looks great, everything is good, and then once time passes, it might be a complete change, a complete overhaul, and you're looking back and you're like, I thought that you said such and such or whatever, and that's when adversity rears his head. And I've talked about adversity before, but we have to know how to control our temperament and control ourselves into a way that we have to always know that if God is trying to take something away from us and take it out of our grasp, he's working on something bigger and better for us in the long run. I've had a lot of trouble with that, but with the past year, I guess, really just this, well, yeah, I'll say within the last year, I had to finally realize that it's never any point in getting so mad to the point to where you're going to completely ruin a relationship with somebody who you have helped before or they have helped you before. And that goes again with the burning bridges aspect. Something is always going on in someone's life. It may be a complete inconvenience to you, but you may not know the full story. So before you go and burn that bridge, always, always, always try and remember and think of it in the positive light. Hey, God may be removing me from this situation, but I know that God may have something bigger and better for me down the line that's going to be even better than what you may have right now. And he's just trying to prepare you and show you. But that adversity, which is something that is temporary, hits you, you have to know, hey, I'm not going to fly off the deep end. I'm not going to get extremely pissed off, or I'm not going to tell this person off or that person off. Just kind of go with the flow. Let God take control of everything. And the less you stress about it, of course, the easier it's going to be to get through things. So I know I kind of went on a few different topics today, but always remember, burning bridges is not something that's going to benefit you in the long run, because you may come across that person again and you may need that person for something, but that bad taste in their mouth of the burnt bridge that you left, they're not going to be too enthused about helping you or helping get your situation a little bit better. And also, like I've said before, when things are going good and you think that everything is great and nothing's stopping you right now, adversity always rears its little nose into your business. So just try and be prepared for it. No, don't expect it, but just know, hey, this could happen. So let me get my mind right. So when it does happen, I don't go off the deep end and I don't go into depression, or I don't stress myself out to the point to where I can't even think straight. And then you lose contact with certain people when you really didn't have to. It's all about being smart. It's all about keeping a positive mind state. And it's all about the betterment of yourself. If you know that you're on the right path to becoming better, don't let anything deter you or make you go backwards, because the past is called the past for a reason. It's not for you to go back there and revisit it and try and reconstruct it. You're supposed to be going straight forward, not looking back, not looking in your rearview mirror, just going straight forward like there's nothing else for you behind you, because everything else is right in front of you. With that being said, I'm going to go and end it this week. Everybody have a good week. I will see y'all next Wednesday. I don't know what the topic is going to be yet, but like I always say, keep God first, family second. Everything else will follow. Remember, don't burn too many bridges. Don't let adversity get the best of you. And always try, and always try, I can't stress this enough, to keep a positive mind state, because that's going to make you go further than you ever have gone before. Peace out, people.